Okay, sorry, I ran out of time on that video, so I'm going to pick up where I was. So essentially what I was saying is that you need to add in another couple of conditions, and those are when you are done or when you've lost all your lives, these buttons can't continue to work, right? Because the game should be over at that point, right? And so right now, the way this is working is I can still continue to add or remove lives, right? And that doesn't make sense. So we need to turn these off or turn that function off. Let's take a look at how that's done. So right now we have this saying when the sprite is clicked, change my variable to 1. We need to add a condition that says only do this, only change my variable up 1 or down 1 if it's appropriate. And when is it appropriate? Well, it's appropriate when I'm still alive, right? So we need to make a conditional that says as long as I'm still alive, you can do this. Otherwise, don't do this anymore, okay? And the wording of that is going to be here. We're going to go to our if, okay? And we're going to say if a condition is met, then you can make this change, okay? Otherwise, don't do it, right? So we can add that here. And the condition is, we're going to say if, and we have the option here of, we're going to go less than, okay? And we're going to say, actually, no, sorry, greater than, greater. So we're going to say if my variable, grab my variable, if my variable, okay, number of lives, so if my number of lives is greater than 0, meaning I still have some lives left, then you can do this. Okay, so when I click the sprite, when I click the button, check that I have available lives. Right? If my variable, if my number of lives is greater than 0, that means I still have some lives left. In that case, you can change this. Otherwise, it's 0 and stop doing anything. Okay, we do the same thing here on this one. So I'm going to say this up. I'm going to say to my if statements, okay, I need to take this off of here. It's going to go in as what happens if a condition is met. So if my condition is met, my condition is going to be if my variable, let's get my variable. So if my variable is greater than 0, okay? So if my variable is greater than 0, then I can make a change. It's in here. And then I have attach it. So when this sprite is clicked, and these are the same, okay, these are both doing the same thing. They're just, the outcome is that the variable, your number of lives, changes by -1 or when you die, or +1 when you 1-up, okay? But the condition is the same. The condition is basically saying, if I have any lives left, then do this. If I don't have any lives because my variable is down to 0 here, or in this case less than 0, don't do this because you can't keep playing when I have no lives left. Okay, so let's reset everything here, okay? And I can lose lives and add lives like normal, okay? And then when I get down to 0, this changes, okay? So we've hidden our girl, Max. We've shown Skelly, and these are now no longer working, okay? Because they are not meeting this criteria. We're saying you have 0 lives, so this is not going to do this anymore, okay? Great. I hope that makes sense. It's it's a little, there's a bit going on. Conditionals are a little confusing. When to use them? They're not confusing. What they do is not confusing. It just says if something happens, then do this. The sort of tricky part is getting used to when to use a conditional. Like, if I'm doing something, or if an instance does not happen, how do I work with an if statement? And that will take some practice, and we'll do a few more tutorials on that. But just go through this, watch the tutorial, and make sure that you understand that concept.